Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven. It is Monday, June 2nd. That means it's Monday Manga Talk. And today's discussions are about Adam the Beginning, Volume 5 and 6. So let's go ahead and get started with Volume 5. Adam the Beginning, volumes 5 and 6 are $12.99 each from Stonebot Manga and Titan Books. Original story by Osamu Tezuka, writer Masami Yuiki, translation by Jonathan Clements and Matoko Tamamuro, art by Tetsuro Kasahara, lettering by Jonathan Stevenson in Volume 5 and Jessica Burton and Cale Ward in Volume 6. Burton and Ward had done lettering for previous volumes, so I guess they're just switching off and getting whoever's getting whatever assignments. Supervisors Makoto Tezuka and Tezuka Productions. Genre science fiction, heroic fiction. The U.S. edition for Volume 5 was released on July 18th, 2023 and November 7th, 2023 for Volume 6. What is it about? Well, when we last left Hiroshi, Tenma, and 6, they escaped an attempted kidnapping, then spent the majority of Volume 4 discussing the nature of programmatic theory, along with the possibility that 6's AI might have an infectious effect on other robots. Now, of course, in this edition, tongue twisting tonight. The university faculty orders Lab 7 to represent the school in the first ever World Robot Battling, WRB, competition to decide who has the toughest and most innovative fighting robots around. Given 6's reputation, the faculty wants 6 to lead the charge, but Tenma believes that the competition is a perfect opportunity to unveil A107, also known as Uran, 6's little sister. Isn't she adorbs with her pink and red color scheme and a cat-like head in her little whiskers on her eyes with the cat in her lap there on the cover? Well, thankfully, they don't waste any time in getting Uran built. Instead, this story focuses on 6's little sister ruining the ropes, acting bratty and immature, making big messes, and eventually coming into her own as 6's sibling. By focusing almost entirely on Uran's development and 6's assigned role as mentor and brother, you can get action, heart, and philosophical ideas worth exploring as Uran is forced to mature at an accelerated rate. Plus, you get a building sense of excitement as the competition approaches. Can Uran be a successful successor to her brother? And is it philosophically moral to build and train a robot AI to fight for save itself from its own destruction? How is this any different from training a human to go out and fight in an MMA battle, only they know they got to go fight to the death, for example? That would be kind of weird, to say the least. What did I think? Well, I think they kind of lost the plot, put the plot on the back burner in terms of following up on the kidnapping from Volume 4 and the events of that volume, as the story focuses primarily on Uran's creation and development. Now, they do some interesting things with Uran, such as when they read her children's stories, such as Little Red Riding Hood, The Wolf and the Seven Goats, and The Three Little Pigs. She comes back with the conclusions that wolves are to be terminated, which was not what they were supposed to be getting, what she was supposed to get out of the stories. Several of the stories that are read to her that are children's books to try and get her something more humanized, I guess you could say, for her AI programming, more or less make her a type of person or type of entity, I should say, that just doesn't, it just attacks and destroys anything it doesn't like, which is not a good thing. Anyway, as a result, they have difficulties getting her to be normal. And as a trainer, both 6 and Uran develop a proper kinship as brother-sister, though this was not what Tenma intended or wanted. By the time they get to the robot battle, competition and introduce the entrance from the military companies. And we see these variant giant robots, including ones from the last volume. Well, that this little Urang, which looks like this little teeny 2-foot tall robot girl, has to go up against. You have to wonder if Six is going to let his little sister actually fight. What is Volume 6 about? Well, it's her Urang's first public reveal at the first official World Robot Battle tournament takes place, and chaos ensues. When the competition begins, Urang conquers the first round easily, but as the competition gets tougher, the pressure tests Urang beyond her limits, resulting in a chain reaction of chaos and destruction. Plus, Tenma and Hiroshi learn a shocking secret about Dr. Lolo, and Tenma's feelings for Dr. Lolo take a whole new meaning once that secret is discovered. What did I think of this particular volume? I thought that the character of Tenma was too consistent in his characterization, in my opinion. His actions in this volume were slightly confusing. He was or is or should be hyper competitive about Euron's success and wanting her to be successful, but he's also frequently distracted by Dr. Lolo and seemingly loses interest in the tournament and his robot charge altogether on more than one occasion. Now, sure, Tenma can be impetuous, but in this volume, his characterization takes that impetuousness to a questionable place, and his personality has been sort of all over the place in this series, and that has been, for me, a glaring weakness overall. Urang is great in the story, and if you're here for robot battles and crazy violence, then this issue has it in spades. I really enjoy Kasahara's robot designs and the fight scenes, but is it me, or does it seem like 6 volumes is a bit too much page count to get to where we are at now in the story? I just feel like the story's been padded out a little bit by about a volume and a half at this point, and I think there's 12 volumes total. I mean, there's plenty of unresolved storyline going on, and it could easily go several more volumes. That's not the issue. It just feels like there's been some filler elements, I guess you could say. Maybe the pacing is just off, in my opinion. Some of the things I'm thinking is filler will be more important later in the story. I certainly hope so. I'm not quite to the point of losing interest in the book, although that this is about the time that I would. In part because introducing Urang as a new character and making her more or less the new central robot character kind of refreshed the storyline a little bit, but that's only going to keep a reader interested for so long. And they do give a really good cliffhanger at the end of this volume, with Urang Weekend and potentially about to be taken out, and 6 having been shut down by Tenma, only to have his co-workers working feverishly to reboot him and possibly save her if Urang actually needs to be saved. But it is quite interesting to see how dismissive and indifferent Tenma can be to his creations in the pretext because of how much differently he treats Astro Boy. Again, for those who don't remember, this story is a precursor story to Astro Boy. And so I wonder if when I read the next 2 volumes for the next week, if what I suspect is going to happen, what I suspect is Urang gets damaged beyond full repairability or destroyed. And if it happens that way, how is that going to change character dynamics between cast members? And especially how will 6 view and react to Tenma, since Tenma shut him down with a remote control device, and he couldn't wake himself back up. Imagine being someone else being able to just turn you off at the push of a button, and you can't wake up or know of anything that's going on around you until you're rebooted. That's a frightening thing to think about. I give both volumes a 4 out of 5. And this was an improvement over the Talking Heads issue of Volume 4, which received a 3.5 star. So things are in an upswing here at the conclusion of Volume 6 with a solid cliffhanger ending to make readers want to get the next volume. Now, what I meant about the storyline about Hiroshi's reading her the books, and he wants to know, what do you think after reading these books? And after you read to me The Wolf and the 7 Goats, Red Riding Hood, and the 3 Little Pigs, I learned that And I just like that they kind of, give you that brief pause to flip to the next page. Wolves are to be terminated, or wolves can be terminated. And that's not going to. Can I get it to? There we go. Wolves can be terminated. And the expression on his face is like, no, that's not what I wanted. No. And he keeps reading her these stories to the point where she gets this idea that whenever she's angry at something or doesn't like something, she just destroys it, which causes some problems in the storyline, quite a bit actually. And he's trying to make her stop. There are these kind of fembot characters that are at a different lab. They look human, but they're not actually humans. And she destroys them because she doesn't like them. And again, she explains, and Six is trying to get her to explain. And she's like, yeah, because that's what it said in the books that we were reading. If you don't like something, attack it. And it's kind of and Grant's in the house. Hey, Grant. Good to see you. Grant's new campaign, League of Cryptids #3, just launched today. Make sure you go check that out on Kickstarter. I might bring it up again tomorrow for crowdfunding talk. And Chris Hall, our co-host, is also out in the chat room. And then, of course, we have Volume 6, where she's fighting these military robots. And I'm going to get to whoops, I went past it. She calls for Six's help, and Tenma doesn't like that, so he just shuts Six off and he falls flat on his face. And he won't turn him back on, of course. And they're trying to survive, basically, these battles. And I will say that Uran at least looks more like the right size for Astro Boy. So it's kind of like that works well in the types of the designs and stuff like that as the characters evolve. And as they get to the end of the battle, Dr. Lolo basically yells to her robot to go kill them all at the end of it, destroy all of them, so that she'll win the tournament, which was not exactly what they were expecting either. So interesting turn of events on it. Mm-hmm. Again, I give those two books 4 out of 5. Mm-hmm. And next week, we'll continue our discussion on these with volumes 7 and 8. Tomorrow, we'll have reviews for the Spellbound Comics, the Multiverse, Jam DeMatteis's Godsend, and Anyman. Issues number 2 for both of those. We'll have those for tomorrow to review. We'll also have, again, we'll probably talk about Grant Lankard's launch for League of Cryptids #3. And I just got a new box in the mail today, and I haven't opened it yet. So we'll do the unboxing of that tomorrow. And that's from Craig Taillefer from Canada. Oops, upside down. So there you go. And yeah, so we'll talk about that. This packing looks a little bit odd. It almost looks like someone opened it and resealed it. I don't know. It just looks kind of odd. And since he is from Canada and they've had the tariff stuff going on, I don't know if our services were just kind of messed with or what. It just seemed kind of a little bit odd the way it arrived. But hopefully it's all here. We'll see tomorrow. And so that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Some people asked me if I was going to talk about some of the other news that's going on between the new Philbo distribution. I've heard of it. I haven't had a chance to reach out to the gentleman who owns it or is launching the company to see if I can get him on as a guest. As soon as I can, I will have him on to talk about the new distribution company. And apparently both Alliance Entertainment and Universal have been hiring people who got left out or lost their jobs at Diamond. So there's that going on. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow evening as well. So that's tomorrow's discussions for Tuesday night crowdfunding and comic news. From Canada, it's probably a strong word of thank you letter. Yeah, who knows? It's just crazy, but it is what it is. But anyway, that's all for tonight. We thank you for watching, as always. If you want to reach out to me on social media, I'm at Facebook at Lewis.BrightRaven, on the Muskrat Twitter X, LewisBrightRave2. You can find my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. If you want to email me, ask me about different projects that are out there or I haven't reviewed or things I want me to talk about, Quoth the Raven, LBR72@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you. Try Lewis Bright Raven at yahoo.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a great evening, folks. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.